everyone. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Wave if you can hear and see me. A lot of faces tonight. Welcome to MMM. Make the most of marriage. So super excited. It's been a while. I wasn't here the last one, and we had a little bit of a break. So it's nice to be back, and we look forward to offer this evening to you guys, and we have a good super speaker tonight, and look forward to learning something new, and hopefully you can also get to know a new person. And I think we're ready to roll right away. So we're over 70 participants so far tonight, so super exciting. And but I think we should, just before we kickstart and go into it, we're going to just start with the prayer. Francesca from our MMM team is going to say a prayer. Francesca, over to you.
Okay. Excuse me. Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parents, dear true parents, good evening. Thank you for giving us this opportunity tonight to be all here together for the MMM event. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share with each other in the discussion groups and to hear from and to learn from the experiences and knowledge of Yoni tonight. We're really grateful that we can invest every month an evening for our marriage relationship and meet new brothers and sisters or reconnect with ones that we already know. And I pray that you can feel welcome and be at the center of this event. And we're really grateful for the blessings you do and you do give us, and want to do our best to maintain it and make it flourish. Thank you once again, and we pray this in your name, Andreas and Francesca.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francesca. Awesome. So once again, welcome to this evening. And so we'll, it's been a while. We have some new participants tonight, and so I'm just going to run through a few quick announcements, quick things that we need to do. First of all, we have Russian translation tonight. So we have a translator. So if you are Russian speaking and want to have a Russian translation, there's a little button. I don't know if at the bottom of your screen, it looks like a globe. It looks like a lot of our unificationist symbols, like one of those. It says interpretation on it. If you press on it, it should give you options to choose Russian, and you will hear much less of the English audio, and you'll hear a Russian interpreter on there. I don't know if I share my screen. I'm not sure if you can. No, I don't think you can. They can't see it like that. Okay. Anyway, it's at the very bottom. So where you have the chat participants, at the very bottom of your screen on the Zoom is interpretation. So hopefully you found that. If you didn't find it, you can contact our host on the chat, Andy, and ask for help. Also, generally, if anybody has any questions about anything, you can always just write in the chat if you're having any problems. And as on to that general admin kind of thing, we would like everybody to change their name so it's very clear, because we can put you into groups. And I think, Andy, are you going to roll the video? I think we just have a quick, short instructional video on that. Thanks, Andy. So hopefully that helped a lot of some people. I was listening to the music there. It's like when you're waiting, calling into like the government or something, listening to the music. But anyway, it's good. It's good. We need to do that practical things. Now, we'll be able to put everybody into more relevant groups. It's really good. Great. So we can crack on and just have a quick introduction to MMM. So MMM is the FFWPU BFD initiative, and started by Orlande. And we're a team of people that work. We have regular meetings, and we've set up this monthly meeting. We've now been running. I think this is our 7th event now, and we plan to continue into the future, and also add other events also. So our sort of main aim is to create a thriving community of fulfilled blessed couples, mainly focusing on the online space. And because we are such a global movement and people are spread out everywhere, and obviously in this modern age of Zoom and like, you know, you can communicate in so many different ways, we just see that we want to explore the space and create programs and different things to help all of our blessed couples have better marriages, but also to be able to connect to other blessed couples and blessed families, and you know, share experiences and build community. And you know, it's can be hard to find somebody who's in a similar situation to you in your local community, and it's just a great space to meet other people. So I'm going to go into introducing the staff, which is already on the PowerPoint. So we have Abigail, and who's blessed to Victor, and she's from Ireland, lives in Ireland. We've got Andy and Francesca, who's our sort of core admin or chairperson's team, making sure we're on track with everything. We have, myself. I'm Swedish American, live in England. My wife's English. We've got 3 kids. And Orlande, which I already introduced, who's based in Germany, and Patrizia, who's our super BFD support and almost like mother figure for the whole team, and comes in with a lot of great insights, and she's helping in all ways, sort of in the kind of blessed family department space generally. So that's a quick intro to everybody, and we can crack on. And yeah, so I think I've covered all the main announcements. So I think we'll go right into tonight's speaker, which is actually a personal friend of mine, Jonathan Makkonen, who's tuning in from Germany. He's German, Finnish, second gen, 31 years old, lives in so like I said, lives in Germany. He's married to Yara, who's American, and they have 2 kids, Emelina and Noah. And Johnny has worked for a long time in the NGO space, and also he's a family counselor, has started his own family sort of coaching, counseling business now as well, which you'll hear more about tonight, and also does a lot of online coaching and supports for people and families. So he has a very exciting topic for us tonight, and with not further more to do, I'd like to introduce Johnny. So maybe we can wave to him through the screen, because they know he can't hear you. And yeah, Johnny, the space is yours. Welcome to MMM.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Quick correction, I'm actually half Austrian, half Finnish, but living in Germany. It's not so important anyway, right? Like,
it wasn't in my notes, but I went anyway. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I think it's German. Anyway,
it's very close.
Anyway, no welcome. Yeah. The space is yours. Go for it.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for the kind introduction. I don't have to do that now. I'm actually really excited for tonight. I've shared about the topics that I'm going to talk about quite a few times before, but today I'm also just really excited and looking forward to it, sharing it with you guys, sharing it with our blessed families here. It's a very, very big, passionate topic for me, talking about my work, which doesn't really feel like my work, honestly. It's much more like my passion and my mission than my work. So and it's actually really, really important, really deep stuff that we're going to dive into tonight. As you guys know, I want to talk about how family patterns are influencing us on a daily basis, in our relationships, also in our married life, also in our relationship with our children. Let's just start with that. I hope I'm actually not going to share my screen, because even though it's really great to what we can do nowadays from a technical standpoint, I want to stay close to you. And when you share your screen, you kind of are down in the little corner, and I don't want this disconnect to happen. So I'm going to use this way to talk today. Yeah, so briefly about my work. What am I doing in my work? Yeah, it's very much related to this topic, obviously, family patterns. I've been working a lot with families in difficult living situations, circumstances, focused mostly on crisis intervention, or also working together with the government, Child Protective Service, etc. And then also my main focus is, my main passions are actually dealing with the attachment theory, which we're going to dive into a little bit tonight. And also early childhood development is actually one of my main focus, but that's actually really interesting because early childhood has a lot to do with even our adult life. Yeah, I'm also going to talk about that in a second. And also I've been doing a lot, if you guys know anything about like therapy, coaching, counseling, whatever, my favorite approach is actually the systemic approach, systemic counseling. So that's also going to be connected to what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, just on a more personal note also, even though I've been doing this work for 6 or 7 years now, it's actually really dear to my heart, not just from a theoretical perspective. I know that, you know, every family is going through a lot, at least one point in their life. You know, I've met so many families, and there's really great and happy families out there. But you know, love is very interesting. You know, very deep, and love can cause the biggest happiness, the biggest joy in our hearts. But as we all know, it can also cause the deepest suffering and the deepest pain in our heart. And yeah, being aware of that, it's something it's a very serious topic, you know. So if we talk about family patterns, I want to start, I'm going to draw like 4 or 5 pictures for you guys, not make it too complicated. Okay, so the first little picture I'm going to draw is an iceberg. You all know the iceberg from the Titanic, right? So what's so interesting about the iceberg, besides that it can crash, you know, big ships? The interesting part is that, you know, normally, I just dropped my part of my pen here. So normally what's very interesting is you don't see a big part of the iceberg, right? That's one characteristic. We know that the ocean is very deep. What's very interesting when we talk about families is often we talk about our habits, you know, habits in our families, how we treat each other, you know. Up here, I would say, still over the surface are our habits. You can see them, you can see how we treat each other. It's very clear, you know, our daily interactions. I would also say, like, if you talk about habits regarding family, what's very important is, you know, what are our relationship skills? So I would also say our relationship skills are also quite visible most of the time. If you're walking down the street, you're not going to see how skilled you are as a person. But even like starting a conversation with someone, you already get a feel, a vibe for someone's relationship skills. And of course, if you're alone in your house with your family, they know pretty well, you know, how your relationship skills are. But still, in my work, I consider this pretty much superficial, you know. So that's why it's getting interesting now. You know, what are family patterns? For me, family patterns are deeper. You know, they are actually down here. because now it getting interesting. Patterns are we actually inherit our family patterns. It's actually a really interesting point. Also in our movement or in religious circles, you know, we believe a lot in the spiritual realm of things, you know. We believe that we're very influenced. We can influence our surrounding in a spiritual way. Tonight, I want to also share from a very practical, substantial way how our family patterns influence us, you know. And again, from a personal note, I don't know about you guys, but if I look at my family, where I'm coming from, and then also my wife's family, where she's coming from, yeah, we've gone through a lot already, you know, me personally, my wife and us together. And these patterns influence us a lot, you know. Like I'm going to share a little bit more about my personal situation on the way. So what's actually the main aspect of these family patterns is our attachment types. You know, it's not talked about a lot, you know, it's not that known. It's one of my passions and wishes is to let people know about, you know, attachment types. What attachment types are they? You know, what tendency do they have? I'm going to ask you. You can answer for yourself. Do you know what attachment theory is? Do you know what attachment types are? I'm pretty sure most people haven't dealt with them a lot. Okay, so tonight we're gonna focus. We're gonna get to a concrete, superficial level again in the end, of course. But I want to talk about really, you know, what causes stress, what causes pain, what also is the big potential of unlocking even more love and happiness and fulfilled, you know, perfected love in our relationships. It's often very deep, you know, in our life, in our families. So we're going to talk about, we're going to dive today, okay? We're going to dive down to our family patterns and our attachment types tonight. So let's get into that. I'm going to share a little bit about the 4 attachment types that exist according to John Bowlby, who is the founder of the attachment theory. So I'm not going to write them all down. You can also Google the attachment types later if you want to. But again, I promised you to draw some pictures for you. So we have the iceberg. We had the iceberg. Now I'm going to draw a scale, okay? So there's a scale, and I'm going to demonstrate the 4 attachment types on the scale. So let's start with the first attachment type. The first attachment type I'm going to be drawing here in the middle. All right? It's called the securely attached, you know, secure attachment type. What are characteristics, you know? This whole thing has actually a lot to do how we were treated in our first years of our life, okay? Mainly the first year of our life, up to 3 years. The first 3 years of our life are so essential, actually. We don't even know how essential they are. And sometimes we don't even want to believe how essential they are. It's not the end of the world. You know, if your first 3 years were difficult, there's still ways how you can work to connect more and get more trust in life, even if you didn't grow up in a securely attached way, okay? Most of us, you know, have tendencies towards 2 other attachment types. One is, let's say, on this side of the scale. And if we are on this side of the scale, what does the scale do? You know, we're not all the way balanced anymore. This type is called the avoidant, the insecure avoidant type, okay? I'm gonna make a little, this is blue, and it's supposed to be like ice, okay? Let's say we have people who tend to be more icy, you know, more cold, okay? This is actually also comparable with the hedgehog and the rhino. If you know this picture in the marriage course, if you did the marriage course before, some people under stress, they hide, you know, they block. I'm cold, you know, don't touch me, stay away from me, I'm shutting down. People who are the insecure avoidant type or the anxious avoidant type are on this side of the scale, okay, in our picture here. Then what's the opposite, of course, of too cold? Right, too hot. All right. So then we have the rhinos, you know, the rhinos who tend to explode, who tend to not be in control of their temper under stress, okay? So these are the anxious ambivalent people, anxious ambivalent attachment type, okay? And I'm sure everyone has a tendency. Not everyone is 100% in the middle, yeah? And how this is influenced in our early childhood is how sensitive our needs are met when we grow up. How sensitive our needs are met, and in what, how well our needs were met in our early childhood, okay? And this continues. It's of course not just important for the first 3 years of our lives. It's just the most intense and the most affecting, like it affects us the most way in our first 3 years. But even after that, it's very important to get more security in our hearts, in our relationships, is how well our needs are met and of course expressed the older we get. We have a fourth type, actually. I'm gonna say the fourth type sounds a little sad in this example, are the people who already kind of fell off the scale, okay? Let's just put them down here. Or let's put them in the middle, sorry. And these people, there's not so many in our society, but there are people who have, you know, severe kind of psychological issues. This should be a minus, okay? Here's a plus, here's a minus. Very severe kind of issues. And basically these people, you know, they tend to be violent, they tend to be criminals, they tend to be very unstable people. And they've also experienced a lot of unstable, mostly violent early childhood, okay? So these are the four types, yeah? And it's very important. This was for me a new worldview. I was blown away when I learned about this because I could understand people so much better, okay? And the most important thing with this is once you understand where you're coming from, how you were treated, what got inherited into you, you know, how your early childhood was. Once you understand this, you understand one thing. You see evil in a different light, okay? You see someone doing something bad in a different light. Same with if you know what's under the surface from the iceberg, you actually know, oh man, this person went through crazy things, you know? And what it leads you to, it leads you to understand, you know, the intentions that people might have, if their scream for attention that people might have, you know, who went through something like this, that they have to be down here, on the left or the right, okay? Yeah, like understanding this really helped me understand myself, you know, and I was really able to forgive myself much more, to understand, you know, why I sometimes can't control my anger, for example. I worked a lot on this, and people who don't know me well, they don't think that I would ever, be like really impulsive. But I could understand myself a lot through this. And also, for example, I could understand my wife much better. She's probably more on this side, and her all the stuff, all her anxiety she's going through, I understood so much better through this. Yeah. Another very interesting thing is that this is actually affecting a lot our parenting. I'm not going to dive too much into this right now because this is the MMM, right, for married couples. Of course, a lot of you guys have children, so it might also be very interesting for you. But I'm just going to briefly say, like, there's also 4 parenting styles which are very related to this, just briefly, very shortly. There's 2 very important things for children. One point is guidance, and one point is acceptance. And if we had struggles in our childhood because our parents were a certain way, it's very likely that we have a certain attachment type, and it affects our parenting. There's 4 types. Some parents are, don't give a lot of guidance because they can't, because they didn't receive guidance, and so they're very neglectful parents because they don't guide, and they're not very accepting either, not very empathetic, And then the same way there's 2 more insecure type attachment types, there's also 2 insecure parenting types. One type is more guiding, but not very empathetic. They give a lot of structure. They're the authoritarian type, And then there's, the more like laissez-faire, laid-back type, They're very accepting, very loving, very sweet, very empathetic, but they don't give much guidance. There's not much rules for children, not much structure for children, So these types are okay, but they're not really what children need, and they have a lot to do with our attachment types. And then let's say the golden way of parenting. Children, of course, need guidance and acceptance, and it's not easy to combine those 2. It was a new word for me too, also in English. It's not the authoritarian type, but I wrote it down over here. It's the authoritative parenting type. That's the way to go, guys. Yeah. Just a short excursus about parenting. And it's very interesting. Maybe you can think of yourself here, what type of parenting style do you, are you going for, or what's your what's your standpoint right now? Are you good at, being strict, but are maybe not so accepting and loving, or the other way around? It's also maybe more like fatherly or motherly, but in an ideal world, father should be, of course, giving guidance and still be loving and accepting. Same the mother, So it's not an excuse for the father to be not empathetic, or for the mother to not give any guidance. Yeah. So these are some basics to understand, where we're coming from, and how we act as humans, in our relationships, and also in our, parenting, for example. Now the question is, how do these family patterns influence us? I think most conflicts in our relationships, in our communication, have to do with these attachment types. So it's really important to be aware of them, and to not be on the island of guilt, but be on the island of need. What did a person who is maybe too cold or too hot, what did they go through, as a first step. And then the second point, what I deal with in my daily work the most is like, how can you smash certain patterns, which is not easy. And I have a lot of methods how you smash these patterns. And I want to just demonstrate one. But before I show that, one more time, how I always start in our coaching and counseling with families is we make a genogram that's like a family tree. And it's so fascinating, you know, if this is your dad, you know, and this is your mom, and then maybe this is you, and this is your sister, you know. You can, if you would say, you know, how's your relationship to your dad? Is it like really warm, really great? Is it like, not so good? Or is it really bad? It's really going to affect your relationship to your future children. Because you can intellectually understand, well, what does a good father do? But if you didn't receive that, if your emotional memory didn't experience it over and over and over again, wait until you're in a stressful situation, you're going to act like your dad, okay? And we go, in the beginning, we analyze the family tree, and we draw a lot of lines and analyze, you know, what are your attachment types that you inherited from your parents, from your grandparents. We go mostly 2 to 3 generations up, and you can really, really understand yourself so much deeper through this. And then once you know your situation, you know, where you're coming from, in our training, in our coaching, we really try to, you know, break or improve certain patterns. You know, we try to interrupt old patterns and build new patterns, you know. And just one method for people who maybe are more impulsive, okay? Just one brief example. If you're very impulsive, what happens normally? You're under stress and you react. And the first thing that's mostly missing is that you can't verbalize your feelings in a right way. You know, you just start shouting. Why? Why does someone start shouting? Because they don't feel understood. They feel like they're very far away. When do you shout? You shout when you're far away, emotionally. Okay. So what you need to learn when you're more impulsive is you need to start verbalizing your feelings. Do you even know how you feel? Do you even have a word for how you feel? We do an anger thermometer in our training. You know, we go through it with our clients. This is a thermometer, and it has certain levels. And we ask people, give me a situation where you're really calm. And then they write down certain situations, okay, moments. They write down a situation for level 1, for level 2, for level 3, all the way to give me a moment or a situation where you freak out, where you're losing it because you're so mad, you know. There's moments, we all know them, or maybe half of us know them. The more hot, more the fiery people, you know. And we ask them, you know, give me a situation, and we write it down for level 10 also. And what we do is we don't just write down the situations. We give level 1 a feeling. How did you feel? Very calm. How did you feel on level 5? Busy, maybe a little stressed. How did you feel on level 10? I felt like helpless, for example. You know, we help people give certain situations and moments words to describe it, you know. And this thermometer is very revolutionary for a lot of people because they learn how to verbalize how they actually feel. Some people can't verbalize how they feel. And then, you know, you draw a line, you know, I'm under control up to this level, but after this, you can forget about me, you know. So we train with people how they can actually notice that they're under this level. If you notice that you're under this level, you can then we write down strategies. You know, we have like a first aid box of strategies, what you can do to stay calm. And you notice it. And if we have the thermometer, your wife knows it, your son knows it, your whole family knows about your thermometer, because we do it in the family. And then even if you don't notice, I'm sure your honey will notice. You don't even have to worry about it. They're gonna notice. Then they're gonna say, hey honey, I notice you're on level 6 right now. I think you should look at your first aid card and like go take a walk or something, you know? This is like a very helpful method for people who are very impulsive. And it can be very transformative for people. And they can be very moved because it actually really, you know, even we have couples who after the session, they cry and they talk about this with their spouse for hours afterwards. They told us, you know, because they could finally understand each other better, you know. This is just one example that we use in our training where you can really practice, you know, to be aware of who you are and why you turned out the way you are, and create a new you through very, very specific training, you know. Because some people are just talented. They're just good at relationships, right? They just have the relationship skills. On the surface, you're just like, oh, yeah, he just has it all, you know. But it doesn't mean that you can't train it. You know, I play football, and there's a lot of very skilled players on my team. Some don't have to practice certain things so much, you know. But if you know, you very much tend to be a very anxious, avoidant attachment type, or a very anxious, ambivalent type, like a icy type or fiery type. If you know, you can practice. You know, you can practice. This cools you down. You know, and we also have methods that can warm you up a little bit if you're too cold. You know, and it's very important to deal with this. You know, and why I'm so passionate about it, because I experienced it in my own, you know, relationship, in my own marriage, with my own children. I live this every day, you know. And this is basically why I think it's not by chance. You know, our happiness is not a matter of chance, of luck. We can actually influence it. You know, we can. This is I keep having to tell people that I see these transformations every day. You know, I see transformations in myself every day, and I see them in my work every day. So some people can't believe it. They don't believe that they could change, you know, certain patterns in their family, you know. But if you start, you know, it's gonna affect the generations that come after you, you know. My great grandfather, he was a crazy guy. I think my dad said like he might have even been a murderer, you know, something like. There was like crazy ancestors in my line who had crazy anger issues, you know, and I felt these, you know, when I was growing up. But we've been working on them, and I think, you know, 3 generations down to me, maybe they're not gonna have this crazy, you know, impulsive weakness anymore, you know. And this is in our hands. We can influence this. And yeah, this was a brief introduction of how family patterns can influence, you know, our family life, our marriage life. Yeah, in our counseling and coaching, of course, we go much more into depth. We're gonna have a group discussion about this topic right now, and there will be questions. And I just wanted to say, if you want to get in touch with me and my team to maybe get a free session with us, because that's what we do for people who are interested in maybe working together with us, then you should stay all the way until the end, because we're gonna share how you can get in touch with us, and also book a free session with us. So I really hope that this was interesting for you, and I really hope that there was something that you could connect to, that you could see yourself in, that you could maybe see your family in. And I really want you to know, don't compromise, you know, don't be okay with your mediocre situation, you know. There's actual things that you can do to improve your family life. And there's not just spiritual things that you can do, you know. That's my blessing, that my blessed situation is that I, you know, got so much spiritual input in my upbringing, and then I got to know a lot of very down-to-earth, you know, tools and strategies, and those two in combination is going to create, is actually going to, you know, create families and relationships that go through the roof, you know. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the group discussions. And again, stay till the end if you want to get in touch with me and my team. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Johnny. We'll do like a virtual applaud for the talk. You can't hear anybody. But anyway, thank you so much for that. It's super interesting. To be honest, I'm a psychology student myself, so I could listen to this stuff all day long. So I really appreciate it. So we've had a few questions. So we're just going to cover a few questions now before we go into discussions. So that you covered, yeah, you covered. Like I said, you just kind of a light introduction, and there's obviously probably a lot of depth to all of these things. I mean, attachment theory itself is books and books and books if you really go into it. So, but we just have a few questions, so we covered that. So one question that came up was sort of, so you introduced the general attachment theory, so like these patterns that we've had from childhood, and how they, you know, and how they probably affects us in adulthood. You went through the four different sort of attachments. So the question was sort of, how do they relate to the parenting styles? Do they actually correlate to each other, like the guidance versus acceptance, or are they you know, the same thing but different, or do they connect to each other, or how do they connect to each other, the guidance and acceptance, with your own parenting style?
Yeah, actually looked into the parenting styles recently, and I totally noticed, I didn't really research in books about the correlation. I'm gonna actually do that more because I actually noticed this. I noticed a clear correlation. For me, it is very clear. You know, I think if you're an anxious, avoidant type person, like attachment type, I think it's very likely for you to become a laid-back parenting style, because you're used to avoiding the conflict, you know, the confrontation with your child. And if you take the other example, you know, if you're more a hot, like an ambivalent attachment type, chances are high that you're gonna confront without having that, you know, empathetic, soft side, you know, accepting side. So I think it's very clear, you know, that there is, and these are things that, yeah, we work with all the time.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I was thinking, yeah, I guess you can find out more about your own sort of attachment through the way you parent. So I'm a father, so I was also when you were talking about the guidance and acceptance, I was thinking, oh, what am I more? And then I suppose maybe you could sort of trace that back to how you're like, yeah, like you do, maybe like do the family tree yourself and see how your parents guided or accepted, you know, how much they accepted you, kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. No, it's really interesting. The other thing, actually, we've had from several people, same question, because you did this thermometer thing, right, for sort of, for people, like, I guess it was more for people that have like temper issues, I suppose. But I guess the question was, you said you even mentioned it, that you have other techniques for people that are maybe avoidant, for people who like need warming up, or like need help them to maybe express themselves, or maybe not be so, blocked off from expressing themselves and sharing their feelings in the relationship. So is there any quick one you can share, or anything, or like that's not too, or is it too complicated?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things, but especially if you're insecure, and like avoidance, then a lot of times it's a it's like a a self-worth thing. Your self-worth normally is not so high, and then it also has a lot to do with communication and actually learning how to communicate, what your needs are, and then realize that you are being seen and that you can stand up for yourself. It really depends on the situation. I don't have like a maybe that it's also not enough time to go through a whole new method, but there's like, for example, a competence analysis we do where you write down what was actually really difficult in your life, and then you write down what your strengths were, and then on the other side you write down, regarding a certain task you need to do in your life or in a relationship, you write down what skills you already have and what skills you still need to learn. And that actually brings you a lot of self-confidence, what you already can do, and it can take away a lot of fear, to for example, open up, because once you see, hey, there's been several situations where you could open up, where you were safe, where you had someone to talk to, and even if you had almost no one to talk to, we try to help encourage people to find that person, that can give you that kind of security, where you feel safe to share, where you don't have to be the hedgehog, So
Okay.
yeah, maybe just a few thoughts.
No, that's a really good point, and I suppose actually that's what I was thinking now when you were talking about. If you marry to somebody who struggles to express themselves, if anything, you have to, I suppose, from this framework, remember that maybe they haven't received acceptance from their parents or in the surrounding growing up, and they have a pattern of not feeling acceptance. So if you can be that person for them to feel secure and accepted, then they will, probably most likely open up to you, or like have it, you need to give them space and a lot of acceptance in order for them to feel free to express themselves. So that's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, a lot. Very good point, And of course there's, if you have a therapist or a counselor, you also receive acceptance from that person. Of course, that's not in your family system. It's always better to find someone in your network, that's close to you, that can be that person for you. But it's also important, you can always work on your relationship to yourself. Do you accept yourself? Even just because your mom didn't accept you, do you also not have to accept yourself, or can you work on your relationship to yourself? That's also one approach.
Absolutely. And actually, last thought I had on that, also in terms of acceptance is, you just got the question come up. So one more thing on that, I was thinking as well, like your relationship with God, you can actually seek that acceptance in your relationship to God. I know from a lot of people have said that's been extremely helpful. You didn't get it from your parents, but if you can, feel that through prayer or from studying or from nature or something, the fact that we are alive, being grateful for the fact that we are alive, then you can start feeling that acceptance and security from that relationship as well.
Yes, 100%. That's definitely, you can gain a lot of security, from God, from the spiritual realm. If you're a very spiritual person, of course your patterns of behavior can be very much positively influenced. So I do have to, especially in this setting, I want to stress, that a lot of times in spiritual communities like our community, there's an over focus on that. That doesn't mean that I'm going to tell you to have work less on your relationship to God, But the whole point is that it's 50, we have body, we have the spirit world and the physical world. So we tend to avoid working in the physical world and only hang on to the spiritual world, you know, or the spiritual realm and our spiritual relationships. We do have, of course, also spiritual relationships to our physical family, but we need to physically work on our relationships as well. You know, it's a balance thing again.
You mean like practically, like actually, you know, it's not enough to just pray about a situation. You actually have to do things about it. Is that what you mean? Like you can't just say, "Oh, I pray that my family can get better. We can stop fighting," but you actually don't address the root cause, like the patterns you're talking about, and we're actually going to talk to your spouse about the issue.
Exactly.
Hoping it's going to go away someday. Maybe if I pray a little bit more. So we have to strike a balance.
Very important point.
Yeah,
very important point for our community.
That makes 100% sense. It's sort of like, it's a 90-degree. What is it? Your father is like, he'll say you have to have both, right? 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Good. So I think, I don't think we have time for more questions now. I mean, there's a lot to, but we're going to go into the discussion groups now. So if we can get the discussion group questions up on the screen. I can't see them yet. Johnny, you just want to run through them and sort of, the first point is just a fact that we all introduce ourselves. So if you can go start from point number 2, Johnny.
Yeah, the first one would be, which pattern or habit would I like to get rid of in my family or marriage? If you're courageous enough maybe to share about something that you're not proud of in yourself or in your family, maybe your family is a little too hot, you know, or a little bit too cold in the sense that we talked about. So what would you like to work on? And the next one would be, what is my positive intention behind this bad pattern or habit? That's very important, because often if we have a problem, there's a lot of guilt and shame around it. So we need to know why. You have to ask yourself the question, why am I this way? Why is my family this way? What was the survival strategy behind this pattern? You know?
So you have to clarify that one a little bit more. So you mean why do I keep doing this, even though, I mean, you have good intentions behind, you know, holding on to that pattern,
why,
you mean?
Why do I keep doing this? Like what's for example, okay, a child, not just a child, let's take a husband always throws a fit about the house not being clean, let's say, okay? And he actually is throwing a fit. So it's not just like his behavior is actually worse than the house being messy, okay? So then what's the positive intention behind? What does he want? What's his need, you know? We need to know his need.
Yeah, his positive intention is that he wants the house to be clean, basically, and
exactly. And that's a simple one.
It's very high on his thermometer, so he gets really, you know, it triggers him, right? So
yeah. But you can also what's behind that, you know, what's behind wanting the house to be clean? He likes order, he likes things to be clear, also maybe in his head or whatever, you know. It's important to know. And then, you know, then it's not so evil anymore, you know. You can relate more to it, you know.
That makes complete sense. Also,
and then the next question, what would be baby step number 1 to start changing this pattern tomorrow, with or without help, you know? And that's a hard one, but that's a lot why, you know, habits and patterns, they're hard to change. That's why I think my job exists, because it's not like a natural, easy thing. That's why our history of humankind has been very complicated, I think, because of this change not being easy. But you can always start thinking about what one step could be. And then another great one to end on an uplifting note, of course, is what is a good habit. What good habit has a positive effect on my marital relationship, you know?
So that's like that's just basically sharing any good habits that you're already doing as a couple that is having a good positive effect on your marriage. Is that what you mean? Like sharing basically what's going well right now in your relationship.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of, I think it's a lot of questions. Maybe it's not a big problem. Maybe if you can't make it through all of them, I would say, but because you can go into depth with all of these questions.
Exactly. Of course. Fantastic. Okay, so I think we should jump into the discussion groups. Both Johnny and I will be in groups, and have a really great group discussion, and I will see you on the other side.
All right. How long is the discussion?
It's about 25 minutes.
All right.
Good. So you'll be given the message any second now.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everybody, can you hear me? Yes. Good. I hope you had a good group discussion. We had a great discussion in my group. Really nice. Johnny, are you around?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Yeah, I'm here.
How's it going? How was your group?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, definitely. We actually went perfect timing. We had like 30 seconds left when we ended with the fifth question.
Fantastic. Any like quick takeaways from the group or anything interesting you want to share?
Yeah, it wasn't so easy to find good intentions behind bad behavior, but we actually managed to find things. For example, one thing that was interesting, like what's the good intention behind taking things personal? And then the answer we came up with together more or less was like, you think quite highly about the other person's opinion. You value the other person a lot. That's why what they say about you is actually really important to you. So that was one positive intention we could figure out, for example.
That's really cool. Exactly. Yeah. No, we didn't go into that question, so very interesting to hear.
Okay.
But that's awesome.
And for you, do you have anything interesting?
Yeah, no, yes, we were sort of deciding what to go for, but then actually because we were all parents and parents with sort of youngish kids in my group, including myself. So we decided to go in on the guidance versus acceptance pattern, and we sort of shared about our own patterns and our partners and our parents, and actually it was extremely interesting just to have. I think for me personally, it was interesting to, I guess, analyze your own patterns, like the way that you parent, and also thinking back to what was actually my parents' pattern towards me. So as an example, like my mom got sick when I was only 9, so, and like she had bipolar, so she wasn't really around from that time on, and I was raised mainly by my dad, and my dad was really high on guidance and not so high on acceptance. so I was raised like only on guidance, really, and I sort of lacked the sort of acceptance things, which actually led to I think we didn't go into our personal, but I'm definitely from an avoidant pattern, and even it's taken me ages to start sharing my emotions and feelings, and Emma's had to work a lot with me on that. So it's super interesting, and a lot of the other the couples shared about their situations, and it was just actually, I thought it was a really good tool. I think you can use to get to know and to see how you can improve your parenting and also understand your partner. We also talked about this whole temperament, the thermometer as well, and just it's awesome to have these frameworks to actually bring into a conversation, similar to like the marriage course also has a lot of good education tools. And I'm not sure, actually, my group, the last thing we said is we should actually promote. John is a big like marriage course fan as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Did it twice also with my wife.
Exactly, and you've hosted the marriage course in your local community there, and stuff like that. So I was just checking. It doesn't look like it was available free online for a while. I couldn't see that it is. If it is, we'll send it out in the next in the email after the session, you know, in our kind of follow-up email from the session. But if you haven't done the marriage course, it covers a lot of stuff, like the rhino and the hedgehog, which kind of ties into a little bit tonight's topic. So yeah, good. Any other anybody else want to say anything from the MMM staff team, maybe, or anybody else? Can unmute you. Otherwise, yeah, cool. So anyway, I think we'll see if there was anything in the group discussion. No, I think we can. I'll pass over. So Johnny's just going to finish with a few announcements and end with a prayer, and then we're going to finish this evening. The group, you can return to your group after this, which is pretty cool. So the group will remain open. So for the people that have time and want to want to go back and discuss with the people in the group, you know, please feel free. Don't be upset that not everybody joins, so everybody can, because you know, people have kids or they need to go and things like that. But we usually see there's always like a few groups that continue for this extra half an hour. So you know, you can always go back and have a look and see who's there, or like if there's enough people to continue the conversation. So, okay, over to you, Johnny.
I got one more private question, I think, right now, and it's, I think, relevant for everyone. I was asked if
okay, sure, go for it.
I was asked if this program, I'm not sure what kind of program she meant, if she meant the marriage course or our coaching that we're doing. Either way, it's not just for second gens, you know, like any age is welcomed, you know. I think the marriage course, and also everything that our coaching programs that we have, it's, yeah, there's no age limit, you know. It's never, my colleagues, one of my colleagues' favorite sayings, it's never too late and it's never too early to work in your relationship.
I like that. That's good. That's awesome. Great. Yeah, do you want to jump into, was there anything else you wanted to end with?
Yeah, just one more thing about what I mentioned earlier. So basically, there's an important phone number that you should write down in case you are interested in getting in touch with us, with me and my team. So Leandro, who is one of our employees, this is his phone number that you can see right now on the screen. You should take a screenshot, or you should take a time to write it down somehow. I assume it will also be sent around, okay? So if you're interested in a free session, you can apply for a free session. We have a limited amount of free sessions every month, just to get a taste, you know, to get a feeling about you know, working on your relationship or your family, and also maybe to consider to work with me or with someone in my team. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, just write your name to Leandro. He already knows, he's already expecting people to write him. So if you can even just write MMM and then your name, and then he knows to contact you. Just figure out you know, your situation, and then maybe schedule an appointment with, yeah, for you. So that's an offer from my side. If you have more general questions, you can just use the email address that you see here, info@dasrelationship.com. Das is a German article, you know, it means the in German. And relationship, it's funny because we also think, you know, we're all sitting in the same boat. So relationship is also kind of, you know, our logo is a ship. So yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and yeah, our website is also dasrelationship.com, but we didn't translate it yet. It's just fully in German. We also have a YouTube channel, which is pretty cool, also in German. Sorry about that. But yeah, Leandro, really sweet second gen. You can get in touch with him or contact us via email address. And yeah, that's
great.
And I think just wanted to say, like, again, like, you know, if you can figure things out by yourself, but, you know, I feel like we invest in so many things, you know, just it's also nice to treat yourself with, you know, some professionalism and some years of experience. You know, you can take shortcuts in your relationship struggles if you want to. You know, there's possibilities nowadays, and I just want to encourage everyone to reach out. And it can also be very healing, and also it can take a lot of burden off your shoulders if you are able to share about your situation with someone.
It's awesome. That's fantastic. No, that's great. And just to clarify, so you, of course, obviously you speak German, obviously. So you and so it's German and English, which is obvious. But is there any other languages you guys can handle, or is it just those two languages?
Yeah, sorry, just German and English. My colleague Janine, she used to study Russian in school, but she's not able to do counseling in Russian. So Russian, sorry.
Okay. That's a shame. We had the Russian channel, but anyway, next year
I know.
We have to work on that. You guys have to hire a Russian in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good. Okay, so it's in German and English. Yeah, great. I put the number and the email also in the chat. Maybe it's easier to sort of copy paste it from there.
And, yeah, that's great.
Great. So.
Oh yeah, you can just do it on WhatsApp. Just write on WhatsApp, and you will be reached out to. You know, the earlier you can contact us, the earlier you can get an appointment. We go in the order of the people who write us. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Great, Jonathan. So you just want to end with the prayer to end tonight's thing, yes, and then sure. Yeah, we'll put people back into the groups for the people that have time for that.
Okay. Okay, everyone, please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parent, dear true parents, thank you so much for this evening. Yeah, thank you for everyone who joined, who took their time to reflect on their situation, to you know, be with you tonight, and also to talk about very important and deep topics regarding our family. You know, often we are confused and we feel pain in our hearts, and we sometimes maybe don't know, you know, how we can break through certain patterns and habits that have been developed already generations before we were born. And I hope that everyone could really gain something out of this talk tonight, gain something out of this group discussion tonight. And I also really want to encourage everyone to not give up, to keep fighting, to not compromise on like a mediocre relationship or family situation, to keep reaching for the stars, for more happiness and for more love, to not avoid, you know, conflict, but to actually go for it and try to change things. And also I want to pray for everyone who's maybe struggling to get help, to encourage them to reach out to programs that are helping, whether it's within our movement or not. There's a lot of people who are out there who deal with this on a daily basis and who are willing to help and be there for people, and that it's not a weak point, but actually a strong point to help. And also the same way how, for example, a lot of people have done the marriage courts, or even me and my wife, we've also went through to a counselor before, and we had a really transformative experience. Thank you for everyone who stayed until the very end, and we really are so grateful for the MMM staff for organizing these really important meetings. And yeah, I hope everyone can have a good rest and yeah, safety and love in their families. I wanted to pray all this in my name, Jonathan Makkonen, from a blessed family. Aju.
Aju. Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Johnny. Thanks again. Thanks for coming. I think everybody really enjoyed it, and we hope to have you back I'm gonna say it for everybody. We'll have, we will have you back on MMM one day.
Thank you.
Maybe next year. So thanks again, everybody. Maybe just wave to Johnny.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No worries. And yeah, bye to everybody else. Enjoy your groups if you're going back there. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next event. And yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for coming. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.